Hello everyone. Most people are more or less the same when it comes to physical shape. Yes, some of us run faster than others or have better eyesight. However, on average, we all walk at a speed of about 3 miles per hour, need 8 hours of sleep, and don't hear sounds with a frequency higher than 16 kHz. However, there are exceptions to any rule. This means that there are unique people among us with real superhero abilities. Do you want to know more about them? Then watch the video to the end and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's get it on. Hand dexterity. Are you left or right-handed? Write in the comments and let's compare the figures. However, the approximate statistics clearly states that on average, 15% of the world's population are lefties. But have you ever heard of such an amazing phenomenon as ambidexterity? Truly ambidextrous people only make up about 1% of the population. By and large, a person with this ability can use both their right and left hand with equal speed and efficiency. Sounds like a dream, right? But everything is not so simple. Ambidextrous people often face certain difficulties. According to statistics, ambidextrous children have difficulties when learning. They have a significantly higher risk of developing attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and sometimes they have difficulty speaking. But they often have another amazing ability: mirror writing. Some researchers suggest that the famous artist and scientist Leonardo da Vinci was ambidextrous. He allegedly painted some of his paintings with both hands at the same time. This may very well be true, because evidence of such talent can be found in the modern world as well. A good example is the artist Raja Sena from New York, who creates incredible paintings in the hyper-realism genre. Yes, with both hands at the same time. Remember when we talked about superheroes? She is one of them. By the way, the opposite of ambidextrous people is ambisinister people. They can't fully use either their left or right hand. Most often, this syndrome is also congenital, but there are exceptions. For example, a person can become ambisinister if he's pushed to change-handedness as a kid. Math genius. Do you know anything about savant syndrome? If not, sit back, you're in for a fascinating story. This syndrome most often occurs due to some kind of serious brain injury. But while in most cases such injuries lead to a decrease in cognitive abilities, it works the opposite way for savants. Sometimes the damaged human brain decides to carry out the so-called hypercompensation in those areas that were not affected by the incident. This is how geniuses are born. People wake up after a terrible accident and discover they have a new talent. Briton Daniel Tammet is one of those people. As a child, he suffered a severe epileptic seizure, after which he not only survived, but also suddenly began to demonstrate mental abilities unique for his age. He became a genius mathematician, and today he can make the most complex calculations in his mind. Just so that you understand, the hardest means operating numbers of more than 100 digits without breaking a sweat. Can you imagine that? No wonder today the British savant is known all over the world. There are many reasons for this. For example, in 2004, he set an incredible record by reciting more than 22,000 digits of pi. It took him a little over 5 hours. In addition, he invented a language and wrote several fiction books. He also worked in the field of computer engineering. Where else? In China, there are TV challenges for masters of math. Here is one of them. The rules are as follows. The judges select 100 random 3-digit numbers. The computer then reads them aloud to the 4 contestants. This takes only 45 seconds. When the time is up, the teens must do the addition and write down the final result. Do you think this is impossible? It seems that the judges thought so, but they were wrong. Half of the contestants nailed the task. How good are you with your mental calculation? Elastic joints. In general, almost anyone can do the splits, unless of course they're not medically fit for that. But some people are naturally more flexible than others. They can easily brush their teeth while holding the brush with their toes, or fold in half in a matter of seconds. Abilities like this of course look insanely cool. However, in reality, such incredible flexibility can be accompanied by serious medical conditions. Most of them are caused by the disorders in the production of the main structural protein of the body, collagen. collagen. It can be found in the skin, nails, hair, ligaments, and blood vessels. The latter are responsible for the movement and flexibility of a person. So what's wrong with that, you might wonder? With such a natural gift, you can become popular on TikTok. Millions of likes and fans. A dream come true. Well, maybe, but the problems caused by the disorders of this kind outweigh the benefits. First, hypermobility of ligaments and joints not only allows a person to do incredible acrobatic stunts, but also poses many dangers. Their body becomes fragile and prone to injury. Joints are getting weaker with age, and the back rapidly bends due to weak muscles and skeleton. This means that these people should not become circus performers or dancers under any circumstances. Second, collagen mutations affect not only flexibility, but also other body organs which contain structural protein. Wrinkles, heart issues, frequent fractures. All this doesn't sound nice. It's better to stay rigid. Bottomless stomach. The average capacity of an average human stomach is about 2.5 ounces at a time. If you drink more than that in one gulp, then to put it mildly, you'll feel some discomfort. But this guy from Ghana can drink 152 ounces in 1.5 minutes. And not just drink, he can later push this liquid out of his stomach like a real human fountain. Not a bad skill if you work in a firefighting crew. But don't even think about trying to repeat this trick. Few people know that drinking too much water in a short time may kill a person. The kidneys fail to process the incoming fluid, throwing the excess into the blood that becomes diluted and causes a dangerous condition called hyponatremia, and all cells of the body start stretching, including brain cells, which simply have nowhere to expand. You already understood what the consequences of that are. However, the laws of biology don't seem to apply to this guy. Or rather, he simply doesn't let them work, because in some incomprehensible way, he knows how to control his stomach. After drinking an incredible amount of water, this man from Ghana does not allow it to go down the gastrointestinal tract, hence the ability to turn into a living fire extinguisher. That is incredible, don't you think? Living statue. How long do you think you can stand in one place without moving? Don't think it's that easy. In fact, without proper training, it is very difficult to remain in one position for 10 minutes. Though not for Abdul Hajiz from India, who's been working as a living statue in the same hotel for 30 years in a row. Every day, he stands in one place for 6 hours, without even changing his facial expression. Passers-by are constantly trying to make the man laugh, or force him to make at least some movement, but with no success. Anyone who manages to do this is even promised a reward of 10,000 rupees. What is the secret of this man then, with iron willpower? After all, standing in the same pose is incredibly challenging, not only for the whole body, but also for the mind. Just imagine you won't be able to check your phone or even talk to someone for 6 hours. Well, Abdul's secret is simple. He does yoga every morning. According to the Indian, it helps him keep not only a strong body, but a resilient mind as well. And it seems it really works, because no one else can do this job for such a long time. Useful skill. Have you ever tried to squeeze through pegs or fence posts like this girl? People used to show off this skill to their friends, and today it's turned into a TikTok challenge. Well, in order to pass it, you don't need a special gift. You just need to be slim and flexible enough, though not all people can say this about themselves. Unique profession. Everyone knows that a person can survive without water much less than without food, and we all know that you need to drink about half a gallon of water per day. But it's sometimes so hard to force yourself to do it. After all, water's completely colorless and tasteless. Though, wait a second. Martin Reza from Los Angeles would definitely disagree with that statement. This man is the first water sommelier in the world, and he can distinguish water from a primitive filter from the one in the French Alps in just one sip. And he'll even tell you from which region the water came from. Every week, a huge package with a bunch of bottles is delivered to Reza's house. These bottles contain water from all over the world. Rainwater from Tanzania, spring water from Germany, artesian water from Norway. Martin attributes his superpower to the high sensitivity of his palate and says that he began to notice it since he was a kid. Now, Martin teaches hundreds of students from all over the world how to taste water, creates creates entire water menus in different restaurants, and provides consulting services for the largest companies. In order to preserve his taste buds, he refrains from smoking, coffee, and other products with a strong taste. Yes, it is difficult to imagine a more unique profession. Endless running. For some, the mere thought of running a marathon seems almost unbearable. Indeed, a person without experience will have to train a lot to prepare for this. Meanwhile, superheroes like Robert Young show some kind of inhuman feats of endurance. Just imagine, this guy once ran 370 marathons in a year. Yeah, about one a day. In total, this is almost 11,185 miles, enough to cross the ocean a couple of times from one continent to another. So why did he feel like doing this? In fact, there was a good purpose behind such a crazy challenge. The guy was raising money for charity to help orphans. He spent most of his childhood in an orphanage and later in a foster family, so he knows firsthand just how difficult it is. All we can do is applaud his efforts. Incredible digestion. In Scandinavian mythology, there's a story about how the god Loki arranges an unusual competition with his servant. They argue about who can eat more, and the servant wins, because he also swallows the plate. Those are myths, though. Meanwhile, there are plenty of similar stories in real life, because competitive eating has long been a favorite entertainment of people in many countries. For a long time, the undisputed leaders in this sport, if you can call it that, were the Americans, until the Japanese Takeru Kobayashi appeared to revolutionize the contest. In 2001, he came to a major tournament in New York and ate 50 hot dogs in one sitting, although the previous record was half that. Although you could never tell that he could eat that much, judging by the way that he looks. There is a legend about the beginning of Kobayashi's career. Back in Japan, he was a poor student and once was at a restaurant which had a special offer. The customers could eat as much rice as they could. The owners wouldn't lose money on that, surely. The average Japanese person is unlikely to finish more than a couple of servings of rice, and it costs cheap. But Kobayashi ate 11 pounds at once. Needless to say, the employees of the establishment simply couldn't believe their eyes. Only a chosen few managed to defeat Kobayashi. One such incident occurred during his historic duel against a grizzly bear. However, over time, the career of the world's greatest eater slowly began to decline, which is not surprising, because no stomach can withstand such loads for long. Tongue acrobatics. The tongue is one of the many muscles in our body. This means that different people have different tongue flexibility, similar to the muscles of the legs or arms. So for one person, tongue rolling is an impossible task, while other people can even make a flower out of it without breaking a sweat. According to some scientists, this ability depends on your genetics. Nevertheless, if you are persistent enough, you can develop the ability through training. By the way, share in the comments whether your tongue is flexible or not. The god of balance. If you're one of those people who can't even walk on the curb without wobbling, well, we kind of understand you. And that's why we admire the hero of our last story even more. This man from China only needs 2 bamboo poles to cross the entire river. He needs one to stand on and the other to paddle and maintain his balance. And this is it. No bridges or boats. But how did this idea come to his mind? Oh, this is even more interesting. It all started in 2014, when one evening, a man missed the last boat home. Desperate, he decided to use a bamboo pole, which he noticed nearby. Of course, his first try was not successful, but the Chinese guy decided he's up to the challenge and continued to train. As you can see, things worked out for him. By the way, this art is widespread in China. Some dancers even perform traditional dances on bamboo poles in national dresses. Others even race each other. Imagine how developed their sense of balance must be. Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.